My name is Pam Clarke, and today I'm going to share with you how to make a freehand feathered wreath using my Designs with Lines registration technique. What you're going to need are the stencils. This is the small one. It comes in 3 different sizes. Here's the larger one, and it comes in 3 different sizes. You're also going to need the basic Gatling stencil, because this is how we're going to center that circle so it'll come out nice and perfect in your square. If you still have a hard time after I show you how to draw up a feather, which I hope you don't, because I'm going to keep it very, very simple for you, I also have a square feathered wreath. It comes in 2 different sizes. And if you did this at least 6 or 7 times, you will know how to do a freehand feather. I also have a sketchbook that goes with the stencils. It looks like this, and it has lots of ideas in here how to use that stencil. All right. What I'll do is I'll draw this up for you, and then I'll go to the machine and I'll stitch it for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so let's talk about a feather. Alright, some people, we just make it way too hard. And I've been teaching long arm quilting for about 24 years. And this is the easiest way that you'll know how to do a feather. Now, I do the traditional type of feathers. So what you want to do, you want to think of it as a half of a heart. Alright, so if I did a heart shape like this, and just put it right on top of each other, and I had a spine through that, we actually have a feather. So if you can just do that shape, you won't have any trouble doing a feather. Now, out of my Fearless Beginning class, this is a little exercise I have my students do. What I do is I have them put a straight line like this. This is just for practicing on plastic. Okay, so this is a plastic sheet protector and a dry erase. You're not going to quilt this on your quilt like this. I'm trying to get you to remember your muscle brain memory, so when you go to the machine, you'll be able to see this, all right? And what you want to do is you just put a heart shape on that line, all right? And then what I want you to do is to take it, go like that, and back up. And this is going to teach you how to do both sides of that heart shape. Down to here, and back. Okay, once you have that done and you're comfortable with it, so do that about 3 or 4 times. And then I want you to erase it. I want you to add the line or the spine, whatever you want to call it. And I want you to remember what you just did. All right? Half of a heart, half, 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 half. And then back up. All right? So when we go to do a full feathered border, I'll explain that in just a minute, because when we have to do a full feathered border, we want it really wavy to fill it up. That's where the feathered wreath's going to come in. So when you're doing, I'm just going to freehand draw this for you, and then I'll show you how to do a more perfect one. All right, so when you're doing a full feather in a border like so, you want to make sure this lays down. So I'll explain that to you in just a second. Hopefully my hand's out of the way. To here, then back. So the fuller the spine in your border, the fuller, or the deeper the spine, the fuller you're going to have a nice feathered border. All right. The reason why I want to show you how to do the feathered wreath today is because once you learn how to do the feathered wreath, you're not going to have any trouble doing this border design. And what it is, when you do your full, like that, I want you to think of this as a circle. All right? Just like that. All right, so when you go in to do your full feathered borders, this is going to be the inside of your feather. All right? So the inside has less feathers than the outside. So we're going to take it, we have feathers, like there's usually like in a circle, when I draw the circle up for you, normally it's about 1/3 of the feathers inside this circle and 2/3 on the outside. And then I'm going to come out like so. So you can have more on the outside now. I'm coming into the center. I only have a couple because I can't get the same amount on the outside. It's not going to work. All right, and they don't all have to be the same size. So this again is going to be the inside circle. That. I can have more on the outside. I don't care about lining them up. They can't line up. They can on a couple of them. Then on here, these are going to really lay down. Watch how I lay that down. So these are your traditional feathers. All right. If you can do these, you'll be able to do any of the other feathers that are being tied out there. All right. So what do you think? Now let me explain to you about the feathered wreath again, and then I'll show you how to do ones with my stencils. So I'm just going to draw this up freehand and explain to you again about how full, if you're going to do a full feathered border, how important it is to know this. So I've just got the circle, okay? Of course, you know, this is just freehand. Once you have, again, the circle, the inside is going to have 1/3 of the amount of feathers in the inside and then 2/3 on the outside for a traditional feathered wreath. So you come in here, and it doesn't matter what direction you put your feathers in. I have just taught myself to make them. I go counterclockwise with the circle, and then I come in and I lay this down. Look how much I'm stretching that out. I'm really stretching this out. Out. And then on the outside, now I can do several more on the outside. So again, if you're trying to do a feathered border, just remember those inside curves are going to have less feathers than the outside. Outside, more. Wasn't that simple? All right, so let me show you how to mark your quilt. All right, I'm going to mark it on white fabric, but when I go to the quilting machine, I find it shows better if I stitch it out on black fabric. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. Now I'm going to show you how to mark so you can get your center, your circle, symmetrical in your squares. All right, and what I like to do, what's really nice about my stencils, well, first off, there's a rough side and a smooth side. So when you use the stencils, you want the label side towards the quilt. All right, and this one is my basic 8-line stencil. You can use this stencil or there's a larger one. And what I want to do is I'm going to take it and I am going to put this all out to the squares just like so. And all I need to do is just to dot this right in the center. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. All right, let me move it in just a little bit. So that's all I did right there. Okay, so I'm going to bring it back out. And then the circle stencils come with a little hole right in the center like so. And all you need to do is to match that to that dot right there. And you don't have to use the chip pounce pad. I just find it's easier and faster for me. You can use a purple or wash away marker, whatever your favorite marking tool is. Then you're going to lay that down just like so. And then I am going to go ahead and I'm going to chalk all of these circles like so. And I'm doing it pretty heavy so you can see it on the camera. So I get right here, that down. All right, and now that fits my circle perfectly. Then I'm going to take my plastic sheet protector and I'm going to lay it over this and draw this on here for you. Now, what's really nice about this stencil, and you won't have to, once you learn how to see the circle stencil so it fits really well, is you're going to use these lines as your guide. All right, but I'm going to do this one right here first, and then I'll erase it, and then I'll do the outside one. So once you chalk it, you're going to go ahead and then you're going to stitch it, or you can draw it out a few times. I'm going to do this one right here like so. Even if your circle's not perfect when you're stitching, the feathered wreath's going to hide it. All right, if it's really crooked, then of course you're going to want to pick it out. But don't be too hard on yourself when you first start. So then you're going to use these right here as your guide. Remember again, 1/3 of the amount of feathers in the inside, 2/3 on the outside. So you're going to take it here, and don't take it past this chalk line. So, came back to here. Now remember, 2/3 more. I can put more feathers on the outside. out. So using that basic 8-line stencil, you're going to find your center, and then you're going to chalk your circles. And this is in a 9-inch block. All the way around, back, and out. That was simple. And a lot of times I'll time myself when I'm working on my machine, and I can do, it takes me longer to draw it than it does to quilt it. It takes me approximately 30 seconds to stitch one of these feathered wreaths out. And when I first started, I used a pre-cut stencil, and I could never get them centered really well. So using that basic 8-line stencil is really going to help you a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do the outside one. All right, and this one, I'm going to be just a little shy on there. So this one, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to do this one out here, like so. And again, don't be too hard on yourself. And I stitch so much better than I draw. So out here, you notice I did it counterclockwise, and then I go around the clock like so. That way there, when I'm working on a quilt that has, you know, repetitive designs, that you don't want to do that. You want to make that back here. Make it just good in here and like that. Okay, then on the outside, if I want this to fill up really full, I can take this all the way out to the corner. I'm just kind of shy on my plastic sheet protector, so here, come all the way out. Oops, go around the quilt. Don't do that. Here. It's very easy to get this tipped over upside down in here, so be very careful. What you want to look for when you're doing a feather, any feather, doesn't matter if it's over the top ones, you want to see, I'll show you in a second, you want to see this shape here. They have to be mirror image, all right? We don't want them going crooked, and you'll know when you do that. All right, let's say you had this and it was a pretty good size one in here. What you can also do is take your basic 8-line stencil, and you can chalk out towards it. Because sometimes I wanted to put a different design in there. So that's right here like so. Then I can come in and do another design. And this is one I showed on a different tutorial. So I can come in here. And back up. And I use the feathered wreath in my Dresden plates, in the circles, and also into the plate itself. So let me go ahead and load up my machine, and I will show you how to quilt this. So to do your freehand border, remember the inside curves. I always do my spine first. Get in here, they're going to lay down. Back up. When I come back, I want to make sure their mirror image or a heart shape, however you want to think of it. In the outside, remember how's more, inside less. And then lock your stitches. This is the circle book, and it has lots of ideas using that circle stencil. Lots of fun things to do. Okay. I'm going to start stitching the feathered wreath for you. And this one I just did 2. All right, so once you get going on this, you're not going to need both of those lines. All right, because what you're trying to do is remember the shape. I mean, if you're comfortable and you need all of them, go ahead and do it. But I just usually use one line. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to stitch that circle. Try to keep my hand out of the way. Go through here. Up, inside. I'm going to stop right there because I need to get my threads out of the way. So I don't want to stitch over when I come back. So here, Remember that we're laying those down. Out. More on the outside. Round it. Yep. Same shape over and over again. You want to try not to cross over. I'm sewing with one hand, so I'm trying to keep my hand out of the camera. So here, and finish. All right. That didn't take very long, did it? This next one I'm going to do is the one where I put the design in the middle, where I use the basic Gatling stencil in there. So I'm going to go ahead, hopefully my hand will stay out of the way. I've already stitched the center circle in. And anyways, back here, it's going to be a little bit larger. Out. Again, remember it's the same shape. Way around. Just be careful so you don't get those tipped upside down. It's really easy when you get in this right-hand corner if you're right-handed. And if you're left-handed, if you're left-handed, it's going to be in the right-hand corner. And for me, I'm right-handed, so it's going to be in this left-hand corner over here. Always stop if you're not sure, and make sure that you look to see you have that mirror image with that feather, like so. So you want those to be mirror image. All right, so if I take that stencil and I lay it down, let me just put my stitches out of the way. I'm going to lay it down here. I'm going to mark, I just need to mark in the center. All right, so I have that grid in there. All right. And I normally do this if it's a larger block, a larger square. So I lock my stitches right here. I'm going to loop here to this one. And this one is in the book. One, there. One, and that one. All right, my circles are not exactly perfect because I was trying to sew with one hand. The more you do this, the smoother your circles will get.